What's going on, guys? Sam Clymer here. Guys, we are here with the owner of 4BBaits, Brad. Brad, what are we going to be making today?
Today we're going to be making a green pumpkin blue. We're going to be making a ribbon tail and a trick worm.
All right, let's see. Let's get started here. What do we have?
We've got our colorant, our green pumpkin colorant, some black flake, and 2 different sizes of blue flake, and then our plastisol.
So you have 2 different colors of the blue flake. Why do you do that?
2 different sizes. What it does is it adds a little texture to the bait and just gives it a different look than your standard off-the-shelf bait.
So I see you put it in there for about 3.5, 4 minutes. So why do you heat it up that much?
So what we do, 2 cups, your standard rule of thumb is about 2.5 to 3 minutes per cup of plastic. So I've got 2 cups in there, and I like to do it in 2 separate heats. That way the first heat, we take it up, we stir it up, we equalize the pressure throughout the whole cup to where you're not getting hot spots in your cup. Because sometimes you can actually burn your plastic if you don't mix it and equalize that temperature.
So what happens with the burnt plastic? Does it not set up right, or?
It is the worst smell and actually becomes toxic at that point.
So that's no good. You don't want to burn it.
Right. I call it making a muffin because it turns black and actually like lifts like a muffin.
Okay. Let's try to avoid that.
Yes.
So you being an expert bait maker, about how long does it take you to shoot, let's say this whole tray of bays and that 2 cups, about how long will that process take?
From start to finish, you're looking at probably 30 minutes to shoot those 2 cups. And that's getting your colorant right, getting the plastic right, shooting the baits, unmolding them, and hanging them.
Gotcha. And I see on your wall here about how many plastics will come out of these molds right here with that 2 cups.
These molds, I've got 4 7.5-inch ribbon tail molds in there that shoot 4 at a time. So that's 16 7.5-inch ribbon tails that I shoot at a time. The trick worm molds are 5 at a time, and I've got 2 of those in there. So that's 10 worms.
Quite a few baits. I think I watched you shoot a couple before I came in here or started recording, but all these ribbon tails plus all these trick worms right here come out of that 2 cups, correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
And we had a little bit left over.
Yeah, you still got about 3/4 of a cup there,
right.
So I mean you can almost double that.
And the good thing is too, like with a solid color like this, when you pull the worms off of what we call the sprue here, you can remelt that sprue and continue making baits out of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see some of those on your microwave here. So you're able to remelt these down and they won't do that thing you were talking about when you reheat them?
As long as you do it slow and watch your temperature, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So we're almost done here. Microwave's at 2 seconds. All right, so he's gonna take them out. Make sure to have a glove on, right? Coming out nice and hot. You're going to stir it up, and then it's going to go back in for round 2, correct?
Yes.
All right. Look at that.
So right now it's kind of jelly, and that's what we call the gel phase.
So not quite there yet, but
right.
Getting there. All right, going in for one more round here. All right, so plastic is coming out, and it looks a lot more liquid now.
Yes. So it's more, I mean, basically like water, the consistency of water.
So now you're mixing it just to even out that heat.
Right. Plus it helps to get some of those bubbles to come to the surface because you definitely don't want those bubbles in your bait. So as we add colorant and flake and everything with the heat itself, will cause the bubbles to rise to the surface and basically pop.
All right, so next up.
Now we're going to add some colorant.
And this is where you can get artsy with it. You can kind of determine what color depending on how many drops or squeezes you put in there.
Right, depending on how opaque or how translucent you want the bait.
Wow, look at that. Instantly changed. you've got to work quick here before it sets up, correct?
You got some time to work with it, but yeah, and even with what we're doing here, just adding the colorant and the flake, I'll have to throw it back in the microwave just for a final heat for about 20 seconds to be able to shoot it.
Do different colors affect the amount of time, you know, you have to work, you know, in terms of time? Let's say like, will yellow set up quicker than like a blue?
Not necessarily set up, but surprisingly, colors affect the heat. So a black, I've never burnt black, whereas white burns real easy.
Okay, interesting.
When you go back on the reheat. So what I normally do after I get the coloring in there, I'll take a little on my knife there and just drizzle it to see what kind of opaque or how translucent it is. So I'm pretty happy with that, so we'll start adding some flake.
All right, this one here is black, correct?
Yes, sir. This is just black, and that's just to add some texture to it.
Gotta have the black flake.
And then we'll go in with our blue. And sometimes, being a crappie fisherman, sometimes I go overboard with the flake.
So crappie like the flake. Is that your secret?
That's been my experience.
Okay. And then this is the different size. It's gonna go in.
And if you make baits, always put your tops back on your glitter just in case you knock it over.
How many times have you knocked them over?
More than I want to count.
All right, so now we're gonna give it a mix. And one final nuking.
Give it another mix to make sure all the flake is suspended. We'll grab our injector.
How much do these injectors normally cost?
Depending on the size, this is a 10-ounce injector, and I want to say is about $175, if I remember right.
So not cheap.
No. Now, if you think you want to get into making baits to save money, keep buying them.
What would you tell people that do something like open pour molds instead of injection?
Open pour is amazing and an art all in its own that I have yet to master. And that honestly, so I was diagnosed with PTSD 6 years ago, and open pours are my therapy.
That's amazing. And I can tell that color right now is going to be fire. For those of you who have kept up on my Instagram, you know that Brad was super generous and got me a really amazing grad present. I posted this open pour swim baits that he did for me, and I unfortunately just got back from a trip, so I haven't taken them out yet, but I have caught a couple fish on the brush hogs and trick worms already. And I caught a giant. The first time I actually met Brad, I bought one of his craws and went out and caught an absolute giant on Louisville on it, like the afternoon that I got it from him. So these baits definitely work if you're in the Louisville. Well, I guess technically we're in
Lake Dallas.
Lake Dallas. Guess we're technically in the Lake Dallas area, but he is over at Joe's Bait and Tackle Shop, right next door. Got his own shop and pours baits all the time. Look at that. So how long does it take to normally set up in here?
Literally a matter of seconds. When the molds are cold, we haven't shot these too much today, so they're cold, so it'll set up pretty quick.
That how pros test their plastic?
That's it. Usually, if you see how it's still kind of tacky there. It's still a little too warm to open. And plus, the bigger the bait, the longer it takes to set up.
All right, so we're now going to open these molds up.
It's our 7.5-inch ribbon tail.
Look how pretty that is. I love the blue flake. Really mimics bait fish. You know, going around to pro tournaments and stuff, that's one of the things that anglers always say. Blue flake is the true representation of bait fish as they swim through the water, that reflection that they put off. So how many times did it take of messing up before you kind of got the whole process down, or if any?
As far as just kind of an overall,
yeah, like just shooting something like that ribbon tails. How many errors did you think you had to go through?
uncountable. The whole thing with this is you don't give up. You keep going. Even today, someone will bring me a bait to color match, and I mean, I may run through 5-6 cups of plastic before I get to it. And sometimes you just can't, because you don't know, especially with store brand baits, you don't know what colorant they're using. You don't know what flakes they're using. You have an idea just by the color of the bait, but you don't know what brand it is. And a watermelon colored colorant from one company is going to be different than a watermelon colorant from another company. So I mean, it's honestly it's constant trial and error and experimentation.
So we can call you the mad scientist.
I do have a friend of mine that calls me Heisenberg.
Those trick worms right there. Oh my gosh. Yep, those are getting munched. Absolutely getting munched. So, if you guys, again, are in the area, stop by here. Brad does amazing work, color matches, got all different kinds of flake, all different colors. He does crappie stuff as well. And I learned he does some perch / ice fishing stuff over here. So, if you're in the shop, make sure to ask him about all the different things he has. Here's some of those swim baits that I was telling y'all about. A little sneak peek there.
And also do mystery boxes.
Oh. So, I've been informed that he has mystery boxes here, which I did not know about. I thought these were just kind of your boxes that you ship stuff in. So, let's see, you got panfish, bass, bunch of shirts, cool looking shirts, and tell you what, that is some performance stuff right there.
I did this one for the kayak anglers.
Oh my gosh, got a measuring board on the shirt. Hey, I've seen people that get tattoos on their leg or something,
Yes,
just kind of slap the fish down there.
That's kind of what gave me the idea to do that.
Hey, that is awesome. And he's got some caps. I think that's just his cap collection, but I know he's got some caps up there. All right, Brad. Anything else you want to say to the viewers?
Keep fishing. Come see me. I'll help you out any way I can.
Awesome. Guys, make sure to go follow his stuff on Instagram, TikTok. What else, Brad? Facebook?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Everything 4BBaits?
Yes, sir.
All right. You heard him, guys. Go check him out. Appreciate it.
Thanks.